Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's analysis of the Indian Express newspaper. Let's start with the first page, which deals with our Asian Games performances. And in the first page itself, Neeraj Chopra has brought home gold again, which is a great thing for us. And we have surpassed our overall tally that we got in the 2018 Jakarta Asiad, which was held in 2018. You can see here, Jakarta 2018, we got 70 medals, and we have already surpassed the old highest medal tally in Huangzhou, where the games are being held. And that is why it's a very great moment for happiness for all of us. Proud of them, of course. There's some raids by the Enforcement Directorate. So let's look at a bit into what the Enforcement Directorate actually does, how it came into being, that sort of a thing, right? Enforcement Directorate, ED. Okay? It is one of the central vigilance bodies, right, which is completely under the control of the central government. It primarily relates to ED. The primary job of the ED is to deal with money laundering and foreign exchange management, right? Foreign exchange management, money laundering, that sort of a thing, right? Its origin goes back to the days of FERA, wherein the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act was there, and the Department of Economic Affairs created a Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, under which they tried to enforce the laws relating to cross-border transactions and had tried to cope with smuggling activities, that sort of a thing, right? Now, there was an act which was the Foreign Exchange Management Act, 1999, right? And इसके बाद फिर प्रिवेंशन ऑफ मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग एक्ट पीएमएलए 2002, राइट. सो इस तरह के लॉज जो हैं आने लगे एंड देन देयर वाज अ नीड फेल्ट फॉर अ बॉडी व्हिच कुड डील विथ internal corruption also and cross-border corruption also, right? Its headquarters are in New Delhi, and it has zonal offices also, comprises of IRS officers, IPS, IES, so all from the central services, right? Um, it deals with these laws. The ED deals with these laws, and also for COFE POSA, which is Conservation of Foreign Exchange and Prevention of Smuggling Activities Act 1974. You may look up the full form. One of the also origins of ED is actually an organization called Financial Action Task Force, FATF. You might have heard the name. They place strict sanctions on Pakistan for failing to prevent money laundering, right? FATF. It basically makes lists, grey list, red list, that sort of a thing, right? Wherein they classify country based on their risk in investment. So foreign investors look at the FATF list and see that if a country is placed in the grey list, it will be a risky investment. Whereas if a country is in the green list, it is a sound investment, right? And they don't have to worry about their funds being smuggled or it being misused in any manner, right? एक और एक्ट है which the ED deals with, the Fugitive Economic Offenders Act, FEOA, 2018, right? So this is how the ED under these laws takes actions against individual either suo motu or upon the say so of the central government. They do search, seizure, everything, right? And it applies to all of India. But they cannot, as I said, they take the directions from the central government first, right? They cannot take up a case suo motu, and it has been criticized a lot lately. So that is one thing. But these things will keep coming. The ED is an important body overall. Its use or misuse can be debated, but to prevent money laundering, which is one of the most heinous crimes in the world today, which facilitates all sorts of other crimes, To stop that, to put a stop to that, is a major requirement for all of us. Now coming back to the paper, right? Flash floods happened in Sikkim. Flash floods are instant floods, instantaneous floods which happen in an area, and they have a lot of potential for destruction. Deserts suffer the worst form of flash floods, if you may know. Now we come to the second page, nothing much important here. Ads, ads, and more ads. More politics again. Okay. Again, a lot of politics, nothing of concern for all of us. More politics, more state news, Golden Temple visits, and whatnot. This is good. Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council polls. This is important. For that, we need to understand what autonomous district councils actually are, ADCs. Okay? Very simply, very briefly, I'll try to explain it to you. So all tribal areas now, they are placed under a schedule called the sixth schedule of the Constitution. What this ensures is that there is some sort of autonomous, आप समझ ही सकते हो थोड़ी autonomy आ जाती है इन areas में, considering their extremely individualistic approach to life in terms of culture, traditions, right? Cultural diversity को ये reflect करता है ये schedule, right? In India. So tribal areas में कई चीजों पे legislate करने के लिए you need a lot of local inputs, right? So to ensure that there are local inputs here, autonomous district council के अलग elections होते हैं, and some things such as land management, forest management, water resources, agriculture, public health, and all of these are kept under the autonomous district councils. ठीक है? Just remember the sixth schedule here. It's very important. And some examples of autonomous district councils would be जैसे Ladakh है, then you have Bodoland in West Bengal, then you have Karbi Anglong, right? ये सब autonomous district councils हैं, which reflects the tribal diversity, the local diversity of India's fringe regions, right, and borderline regions wherein the cultural upheaval is a lot. Okay, and that is how Jaintia, Khasi, Garo, all of this, right? So there are 10 autonomous district councils, 10 states में, and that is how we function. ठीक है लद्दाख में भी polls हो रहे हैं and this is the first time after 2019 that some voting is being done in Ladakh and 77% represents a very good number in terms of voting. Um, let's look at more things if we can find any more encounters. Western यूपी के ऊपर काफी डिबेट चल रही है that whether Western यूपी as a separate body should be formulated or not. This arises from the asymmetrical sort of nature of our polity. Asymmetrical, and by asymmetrical I mean that not every state has equal representation in either Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha, right? So इसको थोड़ा बैलेंस करने के लिए यूपी alone accounts for 80 out of over 500 seats. So and other 28 states combined, right? And they account not for much individually. Therefore, UP has 80 seats, Sikkim has one seat. So it creates a lot of asymmetry and a lot of unbalanced say in the parliament. So that is why there are demands for constantly from time to time to break up big states. MP was bifurcated, UP was also bifurcated, Uttarakhand came out of it, Chhattisgarh came out of MP. So ये सब चलता रहता है and let's see where this demand goes. And reorganization of states is a constitutional subject, so a very a simple majority is enough to create a new state and remove an old state, that sort of a thing, to merge it into one another. तो ये सब बहुत आसान काम है. It's a very easy constitutional job. Parliament में simple majority से new states can be formed. Simple majority in the parliament. ठीक है? India is, remember, always remember, India is an indestructible unit of destructible states, and that is why we have these tendencies. लिंग्विस्टिक लाइंस पे बन सकते हैं, पॉलिटिकल ईज, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ईज के लाइंस पे बन सकते हैं नए स्टेट्स. तेलंगाना बना लिंग्विस्टिक लाइंस पे, गुजरात एंड महाराष्ट्र वर ऑन लिंग्विस्टिक एंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव लाइंस अलग अलग हुए. right? Saurashtra went into Gujarat, Vidarbha went into Maharashtra. So ऐसे ऐसे states बनते रहते हैं. Right? India ranks third in the number of business travelers to Russia. Fair enough, we have a lot of trade with them. More politics, more. Editorial is the first one deals with the recent raid on NewsClick journalists, which is UAP लगाए गए उनके ऊपर, which is a preventive detention law. The U Unlawful Activities Prevention Act has been invoked against the news portal, right? This is a preventive detention law. Preventive detention law का मतलब होता है that आर्टिकल 20 के जो प्रोटेक्शंस हैं आर नॉट एप्लीकेबल. ठीक है, they are not applicable in preventive detention laws such as the UAPA, such as the MISA, such as your कॉफे पोसा जैसा कि वो ईडी वाले में था. Right? All of these are preventive detention laws. यहाँ पे the authority, be it the Delhi police or the ED, can arrest without a warrant, and they don't have to follow the rules which relate to arrest, such as production before the magistrate within 24 hours, that sort of a thing, right? So a lot of serious offences are dealt with under these preventive detention laws. Okay, and they are being applied on journalists here. Hence the debate. It is normally applied on terrorists and others. Um, Here it's another political piece, not of much concern to us. A documentation on Gandhi and how his life was intimately documented, much by his own design, fair enough. Not of concern for us with respect to the Clat paper. Okay. New pension scheme or old pension scheme में debate है. It's quite technical, but we can do without much detail on it. Just a broad overview would do. Right? मतलब कि ओपीएस अभी इसके ऊपर भी काफी प्रोटेस्ट चल रहे हैं ओपीएस और एनपीएस के ऊपर. Kaveri water management dispute again news, right? Supreme Court, we know that ये part's important है. Let's just look into this. A key difference between earlier calculations, escalations, and the current one is the positive impact of the Kaveri Water Management Authority, right? And Interstate River Water Disputes Act बनाया गया 1956 में. Article 262 also governs it of the Constitution. We'll look into it over here. एंड पहला जो बनाया गया था नर्मदा कंट्रोल अथॉरिटी, नर्मदा पे भी बहुत इश्यूज हुए हैं. यू माइट रीड अप ऑन दैट. नर्मदा इज इन गुजरात एंड मध्य प्रदेश. Apart from this, this is relevant. Article 262 of the Constitution bars jurisdiction of courts over interstate river water disputes, right? So, how is the Supreme Court doing that? They are doing that by uh, including just appellate jurisdiction. There are different types of jurisdictions available to the Supreme Court, such as original jurisdiction, appellate jurisdiction, writ jurisdiction, advisory jurisdiction. So appellate jurisdiction allowed है, बाकी सारे नहीं allowed है. This is what the Supreme Court said and tried to resolve the dispute. They did so with an apparent hope that states would comply if the decision were to come from the apex court. ठीक है? And the episode of escalation proves the contrary and may even lead to an embarrassing debunking of the whole rationale, right? So let's see what happens in that. Keep a track on that. Maldives में elections हो रहे हैं and the incumbent, the person who's about to take charge of the country is anti-India. So that is a problem. The capital of Maldives is Mali, and it is a very endangered state in terms of global warming, right? यहाँ पर in this explained piece, this writer has explained the political history behind caste census and why it happened in Bihar and why not, right? And how Lalu Yadav brought a churn in social spheres, but not as much in development, right? And it's mostly a political piece, not much for us. But caste survey remains, could be say, a controversial tool for either for identification of castes among the caste distribution among the population, Dalit, Mahadalit, that sort of a thing, general OBC, OBC non-creamy layer, creamy layer. But overall, the usage of it remains debated. Okay, so it's a political piece. That's why I'm not discussing it again. यहाँ पे this is important, this is interesting that the Nobel Peace Prize is only given in Norway because Norway or were always non-aligned in a way, right? Whereas Sweden में बाकी सारे awards दिए जाते हैं, right? अब बस एक Nobel Peace Prize है जो कि नॉर्वे में दिया जाता है. It's the Nobel Prize के starter was Alfred Nobel who invented dynamite, in fact, which is ironic, but it is there. केमिस्ट्री में और फिजिक्स में अनाउंस हो गए हैं नोबेल प्राइजेस. सो यू माइट लुक अप इनटू दैट. यहाँ पे इसके ऊपर है केमिस्ट्री के ऊपर. व्हाट डिड दे गेट इट फॉर, लेट्स सी. सो दे बेसिकली गॉट इट फॉर क्वांटम डॉट्स की स्टडी. ठीक है, जस्ट रिमेंबर दिस वन वर्ड एटलीस्ट, इफ नॉट मोर. क्वांटम डॉट्स. ठीक है. Every element exhibits scientific specific properties usually determined by the number of electrons in its atoms and distribution of these electrons around the nucleus. Also, every piece of a pure element exhibits exactly the same properties regardless of its size. A piece of pure gold has properties very different from a piece of silver or any other element, but every gram of gold, whether it is a large 100-gram piece or a small 10 milligram piece, has exactly the same properties. Is one of the fundamental facts of chemistry. So what they did was कि ये पढ़ लो, nanoparticles with desire deviant behavior have become an integral part of variety of modern appliances. And quantum dots जो है ये deviations को study करते हैं, and that is why इनका जो study है which identifies quantum dots and their motion, right, at a very basic level, at a very nanoparticle level, and that is why their discovery and invention remains very important, right? And how they are different when they interact with light, that sort of a thing. So a broader understanding of why they got it should be enough. As I said, Maldives is very hostile towards us, says that foreign troops must go. There are more news on attacks for not wearing hijab in Iran. Ujjwala Yojana, which is the LPG subsidy scheme, उसमें सब्सिडी 50% कर दी गई है बिकॉज 200 रुपीज अभी मार्केटिंग कंपनीज ने बढ़ा दिया था. सो टू कवर दैट गैप 200 रुपीज 50% हो गया है सब्सिडी का लेवल. नहीं, सो एग्जाम्पल 1200 नॉर्मल सब्सिडी का दाम है तो सब्सिडाइज लोगों को 50% पे मिल जाएगा 600 रुपये पे. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट there is not much apart from the fact that the World Cup is starting in India today. India still remains on fourth position in the Asian Games. Javelins has brought immense joy for us. Athletics also, India has been very, very impressive, right? Race walk, Rani Manju, boxing में Praveen Huda, Narinder Barwal, mixed doubles Abhay Singh and Anhat Singh in squash. Wrestling में सुनील कुमार ब्रॉन्ज लेके आए, right? सिल्वर, गोल्ड, आर्चरी में गोल्ड, कंपाउंड मिक्स टीम, मेंस जैवलिन जीतना ही था इन्हें, एंड मेंस 400 रिले, 400 मीटर इंटू 4 रिले. सो इन सब में हमने गोल्ड जीता, सिल्वर जीता और ब्रॉन्ज जीता. So just keep a track on this, and Yash Chopra might be one of the finest athletes to ever come out of this country. Right? And it's very interesting. You must watch the Asian Games, and I hope this was fun. Thank you.